From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, June the 10th, 2020. German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas arrived in Israel today and met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem, where the two discussed the U.S. peace plan, among other issues. Netanyahu's office said the prime minister upheld Israel's vital interests in any future deal, such as the need for full security control west of the Jordan. In addition, Prime Minister Netanyahu said any realistic plan must recognize the Israeli settlements in the area and not feed the illusion of displacing people from their homes. Maas later also met with and spoke with his Israeli counterpart Gabi Ashkenazi. The two also discussed the U.S. plan and Israel applying sovereignty to parts of the West Bank. Maas told a press conference that Germany was concerned about the possible consequences of such a move. He said, "We are of the view that an annexation would not be compatible with international law, and we therefore continue to stand for an agreed and negotiated two-state solution, urging a return to peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians." Ashkenazi stressed to Maas that no decision had been made yet. He said the U.S. peace plan will be pursued responsibly in full coordination with the U.S. while maintaining Israel's peace agreements and strategic interests. He said, "We intend to do it in a dialogue with our neighbors. Israel wants peace and security." Maas later met with Defense Minister Benny Gantz, who also spoke of the U.S. plan, telling Maas this will be advanced with a responsible outlook and the utmost dialogue with various actors in the region and as part of a broad international dialogue. A second shipment of medical supplies from the United Arab Emirates to help the Palestinians during the coronavirus pandemic arrived in Israel last night. Unlike the first time, this plane bore the UAE's Etihad Airlines logo and the UAE flag. Israel's foreign ministry said it helped coordinate the flight and that the aid will be transferred by the United Nations to the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. Foreign Ministry Director Yuval Rotem tweeted, "We hope that future Etihad flights landing here will be carrying UAE tourists." Israel does not have formal relations with the United Arab Emirates, though this and other recent events suggest a warming of relations. The previous UAE flight, which was the first direct flight from Abu Dhabi to Tel Aviv, arrived in the country last month. Its shipment of aid is still at the port of Ashdod, with UN officials reportedly working to find a way to distribute it after the Palestinian Authority said it would not accept it. 800 rabbis and cantors across the U.S. signed on to a letter of support for peaceful protest of the murder of George Floyd. It was written and distributed by the Reform Movement's Religious Action Center. Signees include President of the Union for Reform Judaism, Rabbi Rick Jacobs, CEO of the Conservative Rabbinical Assembly, Rabbi Jacob Blumenthal, and President of Reconstructionist Judaism, Rabbi Deborah Waxman. The letter cites the words of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, who said, "To march is to pray with our feet." Further writing, Mr. Floyd was a victim of the nation's long history of brutality against people of color, and particularly black men. Protests are a just response to all too familiar anger, frustration, and pain. I stand for the right to peaceful protest and call on our nation's law enforcement and elected officials not to interfere with this bedrock First Amendment expression. The Secretary General of the Muslim World League was honored for his work in fighting anti-Semitism. Sheikh Mohammed Al-Isa is the first recipient of the award, presented online yesterday by the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement, together with the American Sephardi Association, during a program entitled How Muslims and Jews Can Combat Anti-Semitism Together. Al-Isa, speaking from Mecca, spoke of his visit earlier this year to Auschwitz, calling the Holocaust history's greatest horror, and stressing the need for unity and understanding between all faiths. He said, "Whereas Jews and Muslims lived centuries together, in these last decades we have sadly grown apart. Now we must rebuild the bridges of dialogue and the bonds of partnership between our communities. Adding, we in the Muslim World League are proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with our Jewish brothers and sisters to build understanding, respect, love, and interreligious harmony. Other speakers at the event included U.S. Special Envoy to Monitor and Combat Antisemitism Ilan Carr, U.S. Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom Sam Brownback, and UN Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Belief and Religion Ahmed Shahid. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, June the 10th at 7 o'clock. It's episode 7 of the Israeli TV series A Touch Away. At 8, Tal Kanan and Brett Stevens discuss the Jewish future. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Andrew Rayfeld, president of the Reform Movement's rabbinical school, the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion, who talks about his vision of Reform Judaism and responds to criticisms that Reform rabbis are not schooled in Talmud and are often unfairly critical of Israel. At 10:30, a discussion on racial justice from the Union for Reform Judaism. And coming up on In the News tonight, right after this newscast, Mark Golub speaks with Alan Dershowitz, who explains why he wrote a piece in the Jerusalem Post critical of the Black Lives Matter organization and weighs in on racism in America. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, June the 10th, 2020. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.